So glad you're here. Gavin and I coming up on the vlog this month in startups. Let's go. Guys, I feel like we're on the news here.
It's a beautiful view.
It's not a green screen.
We are at
real.
Creative Cube, South Melbourne today, keeping things fresh and ready to go.
This week in startups. Gav, talk to me.
All right, so despite the doom and gloom that we spoke about in the last session when you and I caught up a couple of weeks ago, a new report commissioned by LaunchVic, developed by Deloitte Economics, was released in the past week, and all signs are that the Victorian startup ecosystem is booming.
Like it.
So we saw the pandemic tailwinds were very good to the Victorian startup ecosystem, growing the value from 50 billion to over 90 billion.
Flex.
And full-time jobs in the tech startup ecosystem also increasing by 50% to over 50,000.
I think firstly, traction and the support of LaunchVic, fantastic. Thank you for supporting the sector. Secondly, there's no greater time to start your own business.
That's what investors say. They say now is the best time to be starting stuff. And there are over 20 unicorns now. So businesses that have ticked over the $1 billion mark, CultureAmp, Afterpay are two examples of that from Victoria alone. It's a good way to start the session today.
Well, I was going to call out Anthony Eisen from Afterpay. I was at a function here at Crown Towers, and Anthony was the guest speaker. Anthony's actually my next door neighbor, and he was the guest speaker. And I was like super excited to go and see him speak.
Now you've spoken about him on our vlog as well.
Turns out he went to Crown in Sydney. And
he went to the wrong Crown.
He missed the event. So
that's no good. That's no good. So,
charity event.
So if we flick now to fundraisers, they've been few and far between over the past month. There've been a few seed rounds, a few pre-seed rounds announced. Skirting around the edges. Certainly no growth rounds that we're used to from the past. We have seen a number of layoffs, restructures, couple of businesses going out. So it is tough out there for founders. Certainly the founders that I'm speaking with.
Most definitely, it's. I get to sit, at Creative Cubes and see thousands of business owners on the regular through our spaces, and it is tough.
It is tough, but there is one. What do you call it? Diamond in the rough, one shining star, which is Canva. And there was an article that was released over the past week talking about how so many investors and therefore the limited partners, so their investors are invested in Canva. And because that business has grown from nothing to 27 billion US dollars, it's made all the investors a crap load of money on paper. And as we saw, Blackbird did $150 million secondary, which was about 3% of their holding. There is a lot of money, hopefully, potentially to go from paper into people's hands over the years to come as they start to shape towards an IPO.
I love it. Canva is a juggernaut. I've seen to you before. I spent the last 3 hours working on a product or working on a document inside of Canva, and it's just incredible.
Well, there's so many people, like you walk through offices or you walk through cafes or wherever, and Canva's always on people's
I've actually seen it a lot on app screens as well, because they have a mobile version. And when people open their phone, I can see the Canva icon there as well. It's amazing, amazing.
So the big news out there is that events are back. You and I, we love to go out there, network, kind of hang out with different people. But last month, Innovation Bay, who are a big ecosystem player here in Australia, did their 6th venture down under, which is when they get a bunch of investors together from across the Australia and New Zealand ecosystem. They bring some international investors sometimes as well. They go off, they go hang out with each other, just like founders hang out with each other, investors hanging out. They're talking shop, they're talking trends, they're talking about deal flow, they're talking about terms in terms of term sheets and the like. It's also seen as a bit of a junket.
Yeah, let's say.
Sounds like something that you and I would enjoy going to. I actually did go to the first one they ever did over in New Zealand. They're back in New Zealand as well. This month, with the New Zealand theme as well, today, Blackbird have their annual conference happening in New Zealand in Auckland.
But today is not really today because these guys are seeing it in a few days.
Well, today's Wednesday the 20th.
Speaking of events, I actually really enjoy Adam's DigiCity. Did you sit?
Yeah.
And been getting into his Contrarian podcast with
Adir. Yes.
Mate, great content.
If you think that Toby and I speak quickly, these guys, even if you're watching them or listening to them at one speed, it feels like 1.5 to 1.75 speed.
It's a good podcast. I'll link all the descriptions in the below.
So last month, Innovation Bay. Today, Blackbird. Next month, South by Southwest is hitting it in Sydney for the first time ever.
Yeah. Is it the first time? Maybe. I'm back and forth to Sydney through the month of October.
You told me just 5 minutes ago you're in Sydney 4 or 5 times between now and December.
That's right. So I'm not sure if I will or will not. However, is it the first time that it's actually outside of Austin, Texas?
Outside of Austin, yeah. And Sydney.
I chose Sydney.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's big news for Australia, big news for Sydney, big news for founders, investors, and everybody else that go.
Get to it, guys.
Now, if you remember back in the day, Twitter was launched back at South by Southwest. So there's a lot of history where some big name tech startups have kind of had
Come out
at these events.
Yeah.
So the Australian last week announced their top 100 innovators. Did you see that magazine?
I heard about it.
Yeah. So David Swan, who's the tech editor there, it's the 3rd time he's produced it. There's a whole lot of supporters like Didier, the founder of Cultureamp, and others who help him co-create and select the top 100 innovators. I'm flicking through this thing, lots of great people, lots of good-looking guys, good-looking girls, great businesses, and then I see you, and I see Toby, founder of Creative Cubes, right there in the community, top 100 innovator. I'm proud of you, mate. It's amazing.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Don't know how I got there. I really don't know how I got there, but thank you, Dave,
Well
and
deserved.
the team of the Australian for recognizing the work that's going in. So
Well deserved. All right, we're just going to round things off.
Yes.
A bit of tech talk.
Yes.
iPhone 15 released.
Yes.
Pre-orders are up. Have you bought one yet?
I haven't, and I'll tell you why I haven't. I got last year's, and it's still pretty good. But I am excited about the new color. It reminds me of the Cybertruck a little bit.
The raw titanium.
Looks great. Looks really great. But I'm more excited about the software, which is iOS
17.
17.
It was released 2 days ago, according to my watch. You and I have been bantering with the posters, the contact form posters.
Amazing. And I downloaded it. I think it got released at 3 a.m. I think I was on the download at 3:01.
I did text Toby at 7 a.m. and said, have you downloaded iOS 17? He goes, I did it 4 hours ago at 3 a.m. So he's an early adopter. Didn't surprise me, given he gets up so early every morning.
Yep.
And then the last piece of information today, we can't go past one of these vlogs without talking about our friend Elon Musk, who I believe you were on the phone with last time. And I don't know whether you've spoken to him recently, but he was speaking with Bibi Netanyahu yesterday.
I saw that. I saw him at driving in the Cybertruck.
In the Cybertruck.
Amazing.
If there are more of those coming out, I'm seeing them kind of
I wish they would launch it here in Australia. I'd get one. I didn't want one so Sim can pick the kids up from school in it. Not
to be able to add the camping trailer towards the back of it.
It just looks so good.
But the one thing that stood out to me was that he mentioned that he's really struggling to eliminate the bots. And that's been a problem with Twitter for a long time. People spinning up new accounts, all automated, and then obviously contributing to the tweets. He said that he may, or suggest that he dropped in the conversation that he may start charging people a nominal fee to use the service as a way to eliminate the bots. What do you think?
I'm already paying. I already am. I'm paying $10 a month. But no,
you're an innovator.
Yeah, no, well, thank you. But I'm already paying. I'm blue chicked.
You're paying like $18 a month or something.
I think it's 11. And if you do it outside of the App Store and do it direct on the website,
it's even cheaper.
It's even cheaper.
Yeah.
I think it's like 11 Aussie. But like, do I have to pay more now, or is he going to give?
He might exclude it. He's winging this on the fly.
Surprisingly.
Anyway, we're having fun watching it. Hope you guys enjoyed today. Toby, thank you so much. Beautiful view, beautiful location.
Creative Cube South Melbourne, guys. Thanks for having us.